Welcome to the MIB podcast, where we help you chase your dreams side by side. And now, your hosts, Mike and Talia Osborne.
Good morning. This is Mike.
And Talia.
This is the MIB podcast.
MIB.
MIB, what's up? Hope everybody had a great weekend or week or wherever we are at this time. It's a Monday here for us when we're recording this podcast here in sunny, gloomy Cold Bath, Maine. It's going to be almost, I think, 40 today, so it's going to be really, really warm. So.
Maybe we'll be brave and not wear coats.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. So, yeah, that's kind of what's going on. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Kids here are kind of sick. Everybody, when everybody gets sick here, the whole town gets sick.
Yeah, it's just going through the town. Bunch of kids sick and taking it home to their families. So
Yeah, you're high-fiving, here, sneeze in my hand. Here you go.
But luckily, the household, our Osborne household crew is all better. We're nice and healthy. So we just want to welcome you guys to our podcast. We're excited to have you listening. And we want to invite you to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/MIB podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to hear from you at info@themibpodcast.com.
Today's episode is episode 6, and Talia named this one. It was called
Married and Knowing Your Role.
Know Your Role and Shut Your Mouth. So maybe you don't have to shut your mouth. Well, maybe so. Well,
yeah,
we'll talk about that.
We'll get there. But first, I want to remind you of episode 5. We kind of talked about goal setting. And I was curious to hear from you guys about anybody who's done any goal setting. I want to hear how your first week went or your first couple days of your goal setting. Did you get something accomplished to where you could achieve your goal the next day, or you're set up for the next month? So let us know. Let us know how that went. And then episode 4, I think we talked about making extra money. And
We'll go back to that. Just, goal setting. Just like I said, there's something powerful about writing down your daily objective and just crossing them out, checking them off, highlighting them, whatever. It really is something powerful about getting something done and visualizing that. So please be doing that on a daily basis. Episode 4 was married with no money. And, we kind of want to hear, what's going on with you guys. I want to see if anybody's made some extra money. Did you guys find that, Mikasa crystal vase that you got for your, wedding 7 years ago that's still in the perfect packaging that you can sell on Amazon for $100 right now, or eBay or whatever? Or, man, a little update for us. I made, a few $100 last month on eBay selling razors, right? What's the brand? Gillette. We're not allowed to sell that on Amazon. They're kind of restricted. So but we sold them locally, and I made a few $100. It took me literally an hour to list them all because they're all the same. No, like 10 minutes to do the SKU, and then literally, the package and ship it. Man, we made a few $100. It took no time, and they're just something that was sitting there for 6 months.
Yeah, probably about that.
So, look around. There's stuff here that you can free yourself up to make money. So go back to episode 4. Check that out if you have no idea what we're talking about. But we want you to make money. That's what our goal is for you today. Start today.
Speaking of making money, we want to give you guys an update.
Oh, yeah. We remember, if you go back to our story, which was episode 2 and 3, we had a point where we were really, really doing well. And we had a point where we were doing really, 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 really bad, which is episode 3. So to give you guys an update, we talked about it. Back in July, we had the lowest month of business we probably ever had, or at least it's called biweekly paychecks. Every 2 weeks, Amazon pays us. So I think it was like $300 in July.
Yeah.
So from July until December, we just reinvested. We do the same things we've talked about. Reinvesting,
and not take a paycheck,
take a paycheck, and doing these little things that make the difference. And sure enough, we're pretty happy to say that in February, it was yesterday, it ended, and we had our biggest non-Christmas or non-holiday paycheck we've ever had.
Yep, we're really proud.
Very excited. So that's something that's pretty good. I guess I know a lot of guys out there. I really admire how they do their income reports and things like that. I haven't written down the numbers all the way to figure out, profits and how much we invested and all that. But needless to say, it was a good paycheck, over 5 figures for a 2-week period, all reselling, all more or less on working probably about 4 full days as a partnership, me and my wife working a sprint. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, how do you guys like to make 5 figures in every 2 weeks?
Sounds pretty good.
Or have a very strong 6-figure income working, for yourself. Just hopefully you guys, we're going to always help you to get there. So if that's not your goal, screw you, Mike, no big deal. But, we're excited to share what's going on with us, what we're excited about, and hopefully some of our victories as we can celebrate with you on yours.
Yep. So let's get rolling with knowing your role.
Shut your mouth.
All right. So, working in a partnership and or a marriage can be really difficult, right? And just like in a larger business, it's really important that everyone knows their role, because if you know your role, you can avoid the confusion, you can avoid fights, you can avoid people getting their feelings hurt. And so communication is a really big deal. And
yeah, funny story. So we started this company back, 3 years ago in April. It hadn't been 3 years yet. And we were sole proprietorship. We did all of it's kind of like basically running a business through your own social security number. And I think we had that under Talia's name, I think, at the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we done that. But once we got big enough, we wanted different tax advantages and consult your CPA. But, ours told us, Talia's meeting up with this lady. I wasn't there. I was working. And so she talks to our CPA, which is great.
Love you, Mary.
Yeah. And they say it's a good idea to make, you the president and Mike the vice president of the company. And the reason was because you're African-American and you're a woman. So you have a minority and, woman-owned business thing going for you. Truthfully, I
thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, great idea. So we're not, and technically, like I said, we're joking. It's like, it doesn't really matter because we don't plan on separating anytime soon. But, we're both co-owners. But I just thought it was really funny. The communication there, if I had somewhat of an ego, I would be pissed off. I honestly don't give a crap because all the money goes into the same pot anyway in her purse, not anywhere near me. So no big deal. But I thought that was funny. I thought you might like that.
Yeah. So communication. I did not communicate what my plans were before I actually made them and did them. It was kind of like an on the spot kind of deal. But to avoid conflicts like those, or ones that are way worse, that really weren't that bad, you need to really figure out what your role is, figure out what you're good at. So, some questions to ask, what is my husband or wife good at? Or
partner, business partner.
Or business partner, yes. What are my strengths? Or even if you're a single person and you're trying to figure out business, maybe it could be a point where you need to ask for help from people who are better in certain areas than you are. So if you figure out your strengths and your weaknesses, you can learn and grow in those areas.
Yeah.
So kind of, what are my strengths? That's another good question to ask. So Mike, tell them kind of what your strengths are.
Yeah. For like when it comes to business things, the numbers, doing the math, being detail oriented, that's something I'm really big at, calculating ROI, product development ideas when it comes to, I own the domain, Mike the Idea Guy. So that'll be coming at a different date. I suck at it, but I'm better than Talia at websites, development, software, and things like that. That's more or less, the engineering nerd background. So
yeah. And then for me, I'm better, or I have my strengths are writing, social media, sourcing products, and networking. I'm really good with people.
Social. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, you also want to ask yourself, what are your weaknesses? So for me, if we were to go on Shark Tank, say we had a great idea, we've been running our business, we've made all these sales, and we want to get an investment from the sharks. We went on there. I would not be the person to ask about the numbers because I would be that person that they yell at and say, you should know your numbers. So I would let Mike handle that. I'm just not the detail-oriented type. not to say that I can't learn and that I haven't grown in that area. So, and you, honey?
Yeah, me, I'm kind of perfect, but the little things I could figure out where I'm stuck in my ways. You know, if I go to a restaurant, I get a meal one time, it's great. I never, ever, it doesn't matter what they have. I will literally have that same meal every time.
It's true.
I'm big on brands. I like this one. I stick with it. And whatever, they call that loyalty, but, she calls it stuck in my ways, I am impatient. I think every entrepreneur should be impatient in certain things, but whatever, impatient. So, and, a good or bad thing, same thing is I'm an idea guy. I come up with ideas all the time. And I think we might have talked about that in one of the podcasts is, literally as soon as I quit my job and started working with Talia full time, we all of a sudden took a lot of work, turned into a little bit of work, because we're both working together, the synergy of it. And I started coming up with other ideas to diversify. So today, I think we have like 12 different logos for 12 different business ideas that I never started because I had ideas, I had, good intentions of doing them, right. But, we did other things and whatever. So, yeah, procrastination of ideas.
Yeah. So, we are fully aware of our strengths and our weaknesses, and not to say that we haven't grown or gotten better in those areas, but we fully recognize that they are still our weaknesses and those are still our strengths. Yeah. So,
like I'm not here to say Talia sucks at this or vice versa. We understand that where we need to fill in for the other person, and that's what we do. We really just make sure that the other person has the support and we just handle what we're good at because it just makes everything flow better.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And so, in the beginning, when we started our Amazon business to start off, Mike had a job. Yeah. And then I was doing the everyday tasks of running our business. I was going shopping, dragging the kids along. I was, still having to be a mom and still having to be a wife and still, taking care of the business side and coming home and putting the inventory in and then boxing. Well, and then when Mike got off of work, he would kind of help me out.
Oh yeah. But then at the beginning, Talia, same thing. Talia's not detail oriented, but I wanted to know everything. Mm-hmm. So, I was there finding podcasts, YouTube videos, whatever I could download ahead of time on my iPhone. And I would literally listen to 10 hours of these things while at work. And then, of course, because I'm a great employee, I'd text Talia immediately and say, dang on, used books are good, or hey man, look for these Nerf guns, or hey, look for this brand here, XYZ, whatever. And that was my thing because I like listening and learning new stuff, and Talia's more into
just getting to
it, managing the family. Both very good assets to have, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did during that time.
Yep. And so then he would come home, he would help me box the items.
After working 10 hours.
Yes. And after me working all day as well.
Yeah.
We would box the items late at night.
1:00 in the morning.
Yep.
I worked second shift at that time.
Yep. So we box everything, get it ready to go, and then ship it out the next day. So that was kind of how we made things work.
Yeah. So, when we both had these quote unquote full-time jobs as a homemaker and as a full-time, full-out businesswoman.
Oh, yeah.
And me working 60 hours a week at my my design engineering job. So that's there is people out there that say that they don't have time to do things, and we're showing you right now you just make the time. Really, yep. We didn't even say before that when before and after work, I was working with Talia to help her get everything going. I was out there, we're shopping together. We'd come home and she'd box everything she found that day together. This is stuff we do. And, we knew that was the role we needed to play at the time because we could get a lot more done a lot quicker.
Yep.
So,
after that, we became self-employed together and things began to change. So, we discovered new skills that we didn't know we had or that, we had grown over time. So we just kept the lines of communication open because it's really easy to get your feelings hurt in a partnership if you don't talk about things.
Yeah.
So, if I think I'm really great at something, but maybe Mike wants to try his hand at it or he thinks he's good at it too, it's really easy for me to be like, no, that's my job, hands off, you know what I mean? But we don't want to be like that. We want to make sure like, okay, well, go ahead, take your turn at it, see how you do. But if if I happen to be better, we'll just go switch back.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an emotion thing. Sometimes your roles change based off how you feel. If you don't feel well, you want to sit in the comfortable chair, whatever. But, sometimes you're just better than the other person. You have to be honest.
And flexible.
Yeah. Honest and flexible. Yeah. So if Talia's about to leave the house and her hair looks like a disaster, right?
Which it does.
I'm not a jerk. And Talia knows that I'm not intentionally trying to say your hair looks like crap. I say, your hair's messed up. Did you notice that? And half time, no, I didn't even notice, whatever, didn't realize it because this, or this, or whatever. So you have to have that. And then she's not taking offense to it. Right.
Nope.
So, and vice versa. Mike, you had a huge ketchup stain on your shirt. I want her to tell me that because, a lot of people in these marriages, they get there and they're like, why didn't you tell me I had a ketchup stain? Well, you can be pissed off at that. I told you, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to get your feelings hurt because your hair's messed up. So I didn't tell you. And you get there and you're mad because your hair is messed up and you're out to dinner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just have a mature way of looking at and just being honest with each other in your partnership.
Yep.
No conflict. Keep it as simple as possible, right?
Yeah. So, some other things that change, we used to work, when I was working by myself, for the most part, I would work 5 days, 50 hours a week. And then I had the 4 kids as well. So I was helping with homework when I could and, taking care of babies.
A lot of the time it was 3 kids.
Yeah.
And you're pregnant.
Yeah. So that's another thing, doctor's appointments and all that jazz. So,
and just carrying a child and growing a child makes you tired.
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah.
So, things began to change when we became self-employed together. And, I was doing a lot of the processing of the inventory. And then Mike he was cleaning the inventory and putting labels on it, boxing it, doing a lot of the heavy lifting because I was pregnant at the time too. And so
I always do the heavy lifting.
Oh, no, you don't. Because
not anymore because I'm not strong.
All right. So back to the task at hand. So today, we have a little bit of a different partnership.
Yeah, we do everything completely. We almost have, we've done this in a while, so we've tried, failed, adjusted constantly, right? And we still do. So please always make sure you're adjusting to make things easier on you. Easier on you, easier on your partner, whatever. Very efficient, right? That's what we're trying to make. So, today, it's a lot different. We do everything we call them the Amazon sprints, really, really quick. So we get paid on Wednesday this week, and then we get paid every 2 weeks. So from Wednesday till Sunday, we're going to go, we'll call it balls out, trying to get everything done as fast as possible.
Yep.
Now then, from that, we have 9 days left of the week where we can do whatever we want. And this is what we do to, maintain a pretty good business. So instead of Talia working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, with me in there too working, now we can knock out everything probably in 50 hours for 2 weeks instead of, in 5 days instead of whatever.
Well, and part of the benefit of that is that we understand our roles. So we're able to knock things out a lot faster. If we were both in roles where we weren't as fast or as efficient, then we would be going a lot slower. And so we have figured things out enough to where we've got it down to these few days of working.
Now, what happens when you don't feel like doing your role, when you have a bad day, and that's where you have to step up, be the woman, be the man, and fill the role for that person that day, right?
Yeah, we really try to back each other up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing I really love about us as a married couple and as business partners is that we're able to back each other up no matter what, whether it's with the kids. If I'm sick, Mike says, take the day, relax. I'm going to take care of the kids. He takes care of cooking, takes care of all that stuff. And if he's down and out, I do the same thing. We just make sure that, we are fully covered because that's the role of being partners, whether married or in business.
Yeah. You just got to remember to take care of the other person when they're down and out. No one, you both can't be down and out at the same time.
Yeah. Because that's rough.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I think, after all this being said, though, it's probably easy to forget your role sometimes.
Yeah.
Or you want to try on new things.
That sort of happened recently. I was letting Mike rest, and I thought it would be nice of me to go and do his orders for him, because we get some orders that we fulfill ourselves. So
like eBay,
yeah,
and some Amazon too.
Yeah, and so I'm like, oh, I'll just do it for him. And so I forgot a couple steps, and I didn't really, take on my role. I kind of tried to take on his role. He politely asked me not to do that because obviously I didn't have all the steps down. And so I said, okay, I understood. I didn't take offense to it because I realized I made a mistake because I was in a role I should not have been in.
Yeah. So yeah, just figure out things. Sometimes people do roles because they actually just enjoy doing them.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So they don't see it as work. They see it as something they just, like us doing this podcast. We really enjoy sharing with others and hopefully helping others. So that's why we're doing it. It's more of a labor of love. Like me, I like packaging up the stuff for eBay and, putting the, printing slip, packing slips in there, shipping them out. It feels like I'm making money. So to me, it feels like, we're already starting the day. Every day I wake up and I do that immediately because it's like right off the bat, boom, making money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my thing. I like doing that. And, Talia just wants to help. Well, she wanted to help that day. But for me, it's just like I said, it's almost like my ritual of getting the day started and making money, being in commerce, being an entrepreneur. So I just enjoy doing it,
Yeah.
If I really, really needed the help, of course, yeah, I'd ask for help. But it's few and far between because most of our stuff is shipped directly from Amazon warehouses. But yeah.
Yeah. So, there actually can be times where there's a role reversal. And so like we talked about before, back your partner up, fill in the gaps. Like that's what being a partner or being married is all about, really. So, I guess it was last year when if you listen again to episode 3, when the crap hit the fan, we had to figure some things out. And so we were trying to figure out how to make our life work because we had lost our Amazon income and we had to
temporarily. It
was temporary. But we had to really look for jobs, and that was kind of rough.
Yeah, that was rough. And this is just a way, call me old fashioned. When we get in the car, I drive. It's the main thing. My dad did it. That's just what I do. When the family needs money, I go out there and I find a job. I'm great at sales. I'm great at the engineer design stuff I do, so, and usually that pays more. Talia was a school teacher. Her certification has gone out.
Mm-hmm.
So, it cost $4 billion for her to get recertified. But, I was always the breadwinner.
Yep.
So when I went out and looked for a job, and where we lived is just like, there was no good job. So it was like an hour away to find any decent job in the place where we lived. So, Talia ended up getting a job.
Yep. So I stepped up, I got a job, and
which is very uncomfortable for me because changing diapers and all that stuff, obviously I do it, but, especially for a wife that's, the caregiver, feeding the baby, stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I became a working nursing mom, which can be difficult, but it was the role I had to play at the time. And so Mike's home with the kids. He's getting to see all the things that I had to do when he was at work.
Yeah.
And I think we both gained a better understanding of, each other's feeling and what we had to go through in the opposite roles.
Yeah, because a lot of times it's very easy for if you're a husband or whatever, the other spouse working that full-time job to take care of the family, it's very easy to take that person for granted. That, what are you talking about? You stay at home all day, you wear sweatpants and a t-shirt and you're hanging out with kids. I'd love to do that, especially if you're trying to get that freedom, chase your freedom and be home with the kids. You're like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you have it, you're like, and the other person's not there, you're like, dang on, it sucks, because like, oh, you got to do everything.
Yeah. So we learned a lot in those roles. And then, part of us doing this, we developed a new business. And so
we had to find different ways, being creative, what we already had, using our resources to get to start making more money. Because literally Amazon was taking all the money that we were making to pay off our Amazon loan. And like I said, episode 3 will tell you all about that. But, we weren't making any money from it. We didn't make a penny from Amazon, I think, till April.
Yeah, it was a while.
Right? Yeah.
It was a while.
It was a long time. So, yeah. So after that, we started, we had to figure out how to make a new business. So I was selling some stuff on eBay. You know, we had basically morphed our Amazon, not our Amazon, but our warehouse that we had started, our web page, our Facebook page for that, into a selling machine. Kind of on accident. Like I said, it was based off necessity. So, you know, my role was completely different again. So Talia was going to work at a place where she was highly underpaid and really did not enjoy. I would literally take my 2 kids, I throw them 2 car seats and like a bench seat in a truck, because we had a pickup truck. And I would literally drive 2 hours north once a week. I'd buy 2 pallets of these Walmart returned items, and I'd pick them. I'd strap them down. I'd drive 2 hours back. And I literally would take the kids, one screaming because she's like, 6 months old. She's really not happy being in that car seat for 4 hours. And I put her right next to me. I start chopping up these pallets, start throwing stuff away, putting all the new stuff I know I could sell immediately on Amazon, other stuff that we'd have to figure out how to sell locally. And it was an ordeal. But literally, it was like a well-oiled machine. I just kept figuring out how to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
I do this all day. As soon as Talia would get home, she'd come and help me.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, that morphed into another business that we actually sold before we moved back to Maine. And now that person today actually has a full-time income from this business.
Yep.
And we're actually going to talk about that on the next episode, because I think you guys are really going to be excited about how simple it really could be to have your own little internet business.
Yeah, and we're going to give you exactly what we did. So make sure you tune in to next week's episode, or I guess episode number 7. And
yep.
Also, just keep in mind, out of conflict can come great business ideas, which is what happened to us. If there's no pressure, you don't create any diamonds.
Yep.
So when you're in those moments of, where you feel like you're drowning, do everything in your power to figure out something that will work, because that's what we had to do. We could have sat there and said, oh, woe is me, we can't find jobs, woe is me, our Amazon is shut down. But no, we said we cannot go backwards. We cannot let this take us down. So we figured it out. We put our heads together. We made a new business that we don't think anybody has been doing.
Yeah, no one's been really hitting it hard, and that's why I think that it's very lucrative way to make money, and especially side money if you're looking for that cushion money.
Yep. So tune in next week. We'll get into the meat of that, and
everyone's role. Remember, not mine, not Talia's. It's not your partner, whatever. Everybody's role is to never, ever make excuses. Do whatever you can. Stop spending your time complaining about what's wrong, who screwed you over, what's wrong in your life, and how you can't fix it. Spend your time finding a solution to that problem. Yeah. One thing is going to release a lot of, ideas and, be beneficial. The other one's just going to tear you down, and you don't need that right now.
Yeah, and the book we read says, seek and you should find.
Yeah,
know your role. And
can't find anything if you don't look.
Right? Oh, that's the truth.
Like hide and seek, and the person go hide, you just stand there. It's like nothing.
Or like one of our kids, when I say, "Oh, go get the blue thing off the shelf," they just stand there. What blue thing?
Yeah.
Where? No, walk your feet over there. Go look for it. You will find it.
Yeah.
So, know your role, and this will help you be successful in running your business and your marriage.
Just make sure you know your role and you shut your mouth. If anybody didn't know, that's from The Rock. Yeah.
One of Mike's favorite.
Evangelist Dwayne Johnson. Yeah.
All right, guys. We've had fun. We hope you have too. We hope you learned something. Hope you're growing your business. We can't wait to hear about your success. Hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/MIB podcast. Send us an email if you have something you want to say. info@themibpodcast.com.
And of course, we're at the MIBpodcast.com, as well as iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, anywhere that you can listen to us. Hopefully we are there. And we appreciate you guys listening today. We really, really hope you guys are taking steps to make this year the best year yet. And we're just real thankful for you.
All right, go out there and make it happen.
Thanks so much. Take care, guys.